Hi, I'm Joni Sussman. I am the publisher of Carbon Publishing, and we have a wonderful season coming up for Fall 21. I'll be starting with the first book, which is called The Rabbi and the Reverend. This is the story of Rabbi Joachim Prince, Martin Luther King Jr., and their fight against silence. Rabbi Prince grew up in Nazi Germany. He became a rabbi and was very outspoken against the Nazis, eventually having to flee Germany and move to the United States. Once he was in the States, he was shocked to see how the Black community was treated, having come from Europe, and he became very active in civil rights. In the meantime, on a parallel side, Martin Luther King was growing up in Atlanta. As we all know, he became a voice for civil rights, and he and Rabbi Prince became friendly. Rabbi Prince invited Martin Luther King to speak at his synagogue, and Rabbi Prince went to visit Martin Luther King when he was in prison. They joined forces to work together towards civil rights. They had mutual values, and they knew that nobody should be discriminated against based on skin color, religion, or for any other reason. And even though they had very different backgrounds, they really came together to support a single cause, and eventually they both spoke at the March on Washington. This is a beautiful and little known story about Rabbi Prince and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and their fight against silence. The next book is called Hello Hanukkah. We have a couple of new Hanukkah books. This first one is a very cute board book about a badger who is lighting the Hanukkah candles. And as he does so, he is also teaching about both colors and counting. There are 8 nights of Hanukkah, and as the badger lights each candle, he teaches a little lesson about both the different colors of the Hanukkah candles, as well as counting from 1 to 8. This is very sweet, cutout collage art, and I think little kids will really enjoy this one. The next book is The Three Latkes. This is by the prolific Eric Kimmel. This is a very droll and whimsical story about 3 latkes, a red latke, a yellow latke, and a gold latke, each made from a different kind of potato, and they are arguing about which one is the best. How will they determine the outcome? They decide they will ask the family cat, but the cat has a plan of its own. What do you think is going to happen here? The cat decides that the only way to figure out which is the best one is to taste them, and one after one, he eats each one up, and the cat is the only one who knows which one is the best. A new story for Rosh Hashanah is called Something New for Rosh Hashanah. This is the well-known author Jane Yolen, who has written this very cute rhyming book about something that's an interesting aspect of the holiday, which is that on Rosh Hashanah, one is supposed to try new things. And here we have Becca, who does not like trying new things, especially not new foods. And her family is trying to convince her to try something new for Rosh Hashanah. Mom is trying something new by learning how to knit. Dad is trying something new by shaving off his mustache. But will Becca eventually be talked into trying something new? Yes, she will. In Rosh Hashanah with Uncle Max, we have fun, and everybody's got an Uncle Max who's the fun guy who comes and loves always to have a party. And Uncle Max has come to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the birthday of the world. He brings a cake, he brings gifts, and the whole family and friends, the extended family, the cousins, all get together to celebrate the birthday of the world. They watch the sun go down, they eat their holiday meal, they eat their apples and honey, they eat the special birthday cake, all to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the birthday of the world. Happy Roo Year, it's Rosh Hashanah, introduces us to a group of kangaroos who are celebrating the Jewish high holiday of Rosh Hashanah. This is by the same author as the popular alligator Seder, in which alligators were celebrating Passover, but in this case we have kangaroos celebrating Rosh Hashanah. They are kooky and cartoony, and in this rhyming story, the kangaroos go through all of the rituals of the holiday. They blow the shofar, they eat apples and honey, they have tasty high holiday foods, and all together they celebrate the holiday of Rosh Hashanah and welcome in the Jewish New Year. A Bear for Bimmy is a beautiful new book by Jane Breskin-Zalbin, who is the author of the well-reviewed Moon for Mo and Mo. The illustrator Yevgenia Neighborg has illustrated a number of very beautiful books. And in this story, Bimi's family comes to the United States. They are refugees from a foreign country. They move into Evie's neighborhood, and Bimi would like to become part of the neighborhood and make new friends. Evie is excited to have Bimi as a new friend, but not everybody in the neighborhood is as welcoming as Evie and her family, although many of the neighbors do step up. In the end, Bimi's family is welcomed to the neighborhood in a very big way, and Evie presents her bear to Bimi, and it becomes his friend as well as hers. This is a really sweet story about immigration and fitting in. At the back, there is information about welcoming strangers into the community, welcoming immigrants into the community. And there's also a bear craft in how to make a bear, which you can give to a friend or donate to a new immigrant family. Klezmer is a new book by author-illustrator Kira Tice about klezmer music, an old world style of music that was brought to the United States by Jewish immigrants at the turn of the century. This music was often performed for weddings and other sorts of events, and it became its own sort of music once it was here in the United States. It has recently become more popular in a jazzy, fun sort of a way, and is now being brought to a new generation of kids. This is a beautifully illustrated book, and in this story, a child makes an exciting music-filled visit to her grandparents' apartment in New York City, where she learns all about klezmer music and joins in the fun. There's also a QR code on the back of this book, which links to a klezmer music video so kids can hear what this music genre sounds like. Hannah G. Solomon Dared to Make a Difference is a picture book biography of the founder of the National Council of Jewish Women. Hannah grew up in Chicago at the time of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, where many activities were being planned. She was invited to create a lecture series for Jewish women as part of the fair, and she took it upon herself to do this at a time when women were not active at all in any kind of public way. So she organized her Jewish conference. It was extremely well attended, and it gave women a voice in many ways. From the fair, she went on to organize the National Council of Jewish Women, which is the largest Jewish women's organization in the United States. She was also friends with Jane Addams and Susan B. Anthony and worked with them on a variety of different social programs to help women and children in Chicago and throughout the country. In Sydney A. Frankel's Summer Mix-Up, 11-year-old Sydney Frankel, soon to be 6th grader, is looking forward to a summer of fun and relaxing with her bestie. She deserves some time to herself to do what she wants. Too bad Sydney's mom has other plans for her. Her mom forces Sydney to take a summer course at the South Miami Community Center. Sydney's allowed to take any class except for what she really wants. Suddenly, summer is looking like it's going to be worse than school. And that's just until her best friend Maggie comes up with the best switcheroo plan ever. In Pinkie Bloom, in the case of the magical menorah, the Bloom family offers to take care of a menorah that Mrs. Glick's archaeologist's son Buzzy found on a dig in Israel. Then Mrs. Glick donates one of Buzzy's antique coins to the Hanukkah raffle at the synagogue, and shenanigans ensue. The coin disappears, and Shira is concerned that her coin collector dad will be accused. Ace Detective Pinkie figures out that the donated coin was a forgery, and then the magical menorah is stolen. Who could be behind these strange happenings? Pinkie and her brother Avi are on the hunt for the culprits. In The Backyard Secrets of Danny Wetzler, 11-year-old Danny Wetzler, the only Jewish boy in his blue-collar town, is obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle. After a local child goes missing, Danny's convinced there's a connection to an old Bermuda Triangle theory involving UFOs. With his two best friends and their Spacetron telescope, Danny heads to his backyard to investigate, using a handful of clues that lead them to believe Danny's hairy-handed piano teacher is one of the alien abductors. Danny turns to his neighbor, Mrs. Albertini, for advice. A sweet older woman who always has chocolate cake and words of wisdom, she confides in Danny that she's also Jewish and tells him that small changes in the way people think can lead to bigger changes. When an explosion rips apart the town's factory, leaving many injured and distraught, Danny finds himself in the middle of the chaos, surrounded by the meanest of the school bullies, the alleged hairy-handed piano-playing alien kidnapper, and families who don't want his kind around. Equipped with Mrs. Albertini's sage advice and his super-secret spy notebook, Danny sets out to fight both the aliens and the growing anti-Semitism in the town, in hopes of mending his torn-apart community.